Hello children, I welcome back everyone. Children, now we are going to have zoology session. Educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. Children, shall we all get ready with an open mind and open heart to have this session and to enrich ourselves? Let me take the opportunity to introduce today's zoology lecturer. Mr. K. Manoj Kumar, PGT Zoology from TSMS Mahbubabad. Sir is going to start the first unit, that is human anatomy and physiology, and the topic is digestion and absorption. I hope we all might have had our breakfast and getting ready for the lunch. By now, whatever we had in the morning session, it might have digested and absorbed, but we do not know the process, how it went on. So, children, with all your mind and heart, be open and we shall know how the digestion takes place and how the food get absorbed. Now, I hand over the session to Mr. K. Manoj Kumar. Thank you very much.
Thank you, madam. Hello, students. Good morning. Welcome to this zoology webinar first live session. First, let me introduce myself. I'm K. Manoj Kumar, working as PGT Zoology in Telangana State Model School, Mandal and District, Mahbubabad. Well, students, in this today's session, I'll start with second year syllabus, Unit 1, Human Anatomy and Physiology. So, under this Unit 1, we have two subunits, digestion and absorption as 1A, breathing and exchange of gases as 1B. So, I'll start with digestion and absorption. Well, students, I just want to ask you some questions like, in our second year geology syllabus, most of the units are connected with these two words, anatomy and physiology. Now, before we actually enter into our topic, so this is an overview of what we are going to know in our today's session. So here in this session, we are going to learn the definitions of the terms anatomy and physiology, introduction to digestion and absorption, structure of human digestive system. Under this, we have two aspects. One is alimentary canal and associated glands. Under alimentary canal, we are going to cover mouth, buccal cavity, teeth, kinds of teeth, types of dentition, and dental formula, and structure of tooth and tongue. Of course, we also include pharynx. So these are the concepts we are going to discuss in our today's session. Now, let me ask you one question like human anatomy and physiology. So students, it is always very exciting and it's always been very interesting when we try to understand about our own self, isn't it? About our own body, about the systems that we have, how does they work. So it's been like an exciting topic. Hope. Now, human anatomy and physiology is divided into two subunits. As I said earlier, so one is digestion and absorption, another one is breathing and exchange of gases. So I'll start with digestion and absorption. So under this, there are two components. One is alimentary canal and another one is associated glands. Now let us move on to the next slide. So here, this is a zoology. Let us recall the definitions of the two terms. One is anatomy, another one is physiology. Now students, anatomy. Anatomy is a branch of science which deals with the study of internal arrangement of body organs and organ systems. Whereas a physiology is also a branch of science which deals with the study of functioning of different organs and organ systems. To make it more simplified, so if you see, the anatomy simply means structure, whereas physiology simply means functioning. So anatomy means structure, physiology means a functioning. So students, in general, the functioning of any organ or organ system is determined by its structure. So it is always better for us to understand the structure before we know the actual functioning of any organ or organ system. Now, when we start the digestion and absorption, so there is a very good saying, isn't it? So I think this is more apt, and I think this relates with our topic. So one cannot think well, live well, sleep well, and if one has not eaten well. So I suppose that this exactly relates to our topic, because whatever the food we eat, okay, so our health depends on the food we generally eat. So healthy food makes us healthy. Healthy food gives us a healthy mind. Healthy food gives us a healthy body. So let us see what happens to this food when it goes inside of our body. So students, so generally we feel hungry, isn't it? So when you feel hungry, what shall you do? Simple, we shall eat some food. It's over. So what happens to this food when it goes inside of our body? Okay, so very simple, the food which goes inside our body, it gets digested. So here comes digested. So that is the process of digestion. So the food which goes inside our body, so it gets digestion, or it undergoes a process called as digestion. So by this process of digestion, what we get from the food? So here, see, we used to get energy from the food with which we able to perform all our activities from the cell level to the system level. And from the food, we get the necessary or the required organic material with which our body develops or our growth takes place actually. And the food also regulates, the food is also responsible for the repair work of our body. So isn't it food very important to all living organisms? Absolutely. So food is one of the basic requirement of all living organisms, without which the survival of the living organisms becomes very difficult, because food gives us energy, food is responsible for overall growth and development, and food helps in the repair work, and food also helps in the regulation, isn't it students? Now digestion. Now let us start with the definition of digestion. So as I said earlier, the food which enters into our body undergoes a process of digestion. Then what is meant by digestion, isn't it? So digestion is the breakdown of biomacromolecules into simple substances by the action of enzymes. So this is like a biochemical process which undergoes in the living organisms, in which the breakdown of biomacromolecules takes place into simple substances, and this is done by the action of enzymes. So let us make it more simple, try to understand for our understanding. So the complex food is converted into simple nutrients. So this is as simple as this. The complex food is converted into simple nutrients, and this process is called digestion. And this is done with the help of enzymes. With the help of enzymes. Suppose we do not have enzymes, now this conversion does not occur in our body. Then what happens? So our body or our cells unable to utilize this complex food as it is. So it must undergo a process called as digestion. So only simple nutrients are absorbable and diffusible, because this complex food is in macromolecular form in a bigger size. Our cells cannot utilize because these are unabsorbable and non-diffusible. So they must be converted into absorbable forms, micromolecular forms. So for this purpose, it must undergo a process called as digestion. So only simple nutrients are absorbable and diffusible. So we require this digestion very much. Okay, so we want the next slide. So human digestive system. So what is this digestive system is all about? So I said earlier, digestion, an important process that occurs in the human beings to digest the food, whatever the food we eat, so it gets digested. We eat a variety of food. Okay, so there is an exclusive system which performs the whole process of digestion, and that exclusive system is human digestive system. So this is the picture you're seeing. So this picture clearly shows the entire human digestive system. It consists of various organs. We shall start with mouth, oral cavity, pharynx, and this is esophagus. This bag-like structure is called as stomach, and this highly coiled tubular structure is called as intestine. This wider tube is called as large intestine, and we have some glands also. This is liver, the largest gland of our body, and here we have a pancreas. So all these organs and associated glands together form the human digestive system, and it is an important system which is responsible for the whole process of our digestion. Now, to define the human digestive system, so it is an organization of many organs and associated structures as a unit, and they used to perform a common function, that is digestion. So any system is made up of several organs and some associated structures. So it is like a teamwork, isn't it? So like in a team, all members work together for a common goal. So in a similar manner, here in this human digestive system, which consists of many organs and with some associated structures, they all together work for a common function, and that is digestion. And coming to the digestive system in man, so it is well developed, well advanced, highly sophisticated, highly organized, with more regionalization and complex digestive glands. So human beings are most developed, most advanced animals on the planet. So obviously we used to have well organized systems in our body. So as the digestive system is also a highly organized with more regionalization in the sense that the human digestive system went some modifications, okay, to form special structures, and that we are going to learn in the coming up session. Now here comes the human digestive system. So the human digestive system is divided into two components. So one is alimentary canal, another one is associated glands. So both alimentary canal and associated glands together form the human digestive system. Now let us go in detail. Alimentary canal. So how do you define alimentary canal? So alimentary canal is nothing but a muscular long tube which extends from the mouth to the anus. So this is a muscular, a tubular passage which extends between a mouth and anus, and such structure is called as alimentary canal. So generally in invertebrates, if you take in earthworm, so the alimentary canal is very straight, it is very simple with less number of organs. But whereas in man, if you see this alimentary canal, it is very lengthy. It is very lengthy. At places it is coiled, at some places it is bag-like, isn't it? So on a whole, if you take in an adult man, the size of the alimentary canal is about 9 meters long. So isn't it astonishing? It is very surprising. Okay, so it is like very lengthy alimentary canal actually we got. And this alimentary canal has got some specialized regions for performing some special functions. So our alimentary canal is specialized to perform functions such as ingestion, mastication, deglutition, digestion, absorption, and ingestion. So what is ingestion? It is intake of food. Mastication, that is chewing of food. Deglutition, that is swallowing of food. Digestion, of course, it consists of two, both mechanical digestion and chemical digestion. Absorption, so once the digestion part is completed, so the simple nutrients get absorbed into the blood, and from there they are reached to the cells, and further energy releasing process usually takes place at the cells. And finally, ingestion. So the undigested food particles are sent out through an aperture called anus, and the process is also called as defecation. So this is all about alimentary canal. So coming to the other aspect of the human digestive system. So it consists of glands, associated glands. So well, we have three major glands. So one is salivary glands, liver, and pancreas. So these three associated glands do participate in the process of digestion by secreting their respective juices into the alimentary canal. So this is how our human digestive system is formed by these two, alimentary canal and associated glands. Now see, this is the picture showing the human alimentary canal. So let us start from again mouth. leads into oral cavity or buccal cavity, pharynx, and this is esophagus, stomach, again small intestine, large intestine, and anus. So excluding the glands, so excluding salivary glands, liver, pancreas. So the structure is called as alimentary canal. So here, students, you can see the flow chart of the human alimentary canal. So it starts with mouth, buccal cavity, leads into pharynx, leads into esophagus, leads into stomach, which opens into small intestine, further opens into large intestine, and finally ends with anus. So as I already said, the definition for the alimentary canal, so it is a long tubular passage. It is a long tubular passage. Of course, it is muscular in nature because throughout the length of the alimentary canal, it consists of muscles. Hence, it is often described as muscular. So here, this is the mouth and this is the anus. So these are the two openings with which the alimentary canal opens on the either side, isn't it? So this is the flow chart: mouth, buccal cavity, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, anus. So these are in the same order in our alimentary canal. Now let us start one by one in detail. We start with mouth. So well children, mouth. So this is the picture showing the mouth. So this is mouth. So how can you define mouth? So this is like the first part of the alimentary canal, or it is the anterior most opening of the alimentary canal. Okay. So this mouth is bound by two foldable, movable, fleshy lips. Both this upper lip and this is lower lip. So these are movable, fleshy folds, and they are externally covered by skin, and they are internally covered by a mucous membrane, or this can be also called as mucosa. So our lips are externally covered of skin, internally covered of mucosa. So these are the lips with which our mouth is bound. So the main function of mouth is just to receive the food, that is ingestion. It receives the food, and that food later enters into another small chamber, that is buccal cavity. So mouth is the anterior most opening of the alimentary canal, or we can also say that mouth is the first part of the alimentary canal with which we usually take the food. Let us move on to the next part, that is buccal cavity. So children, observe this picture. So this is a small chamber into which our mouth opens. So this small chamber is called buccal cavity. So this is formed by, or this is surrounded by lips, jaws, on the lateral sides cheeks, on the floor we have a tongue, and if you see on the roof of the buccal cavity, so there is a special structure called as palate. So this structure is called as palate. So mammals, when compared with other vertebrates, had an advantage of consisting of this palate. So this palate actually separates our dorsal nasal chambers from our ventral oral chambers. So this palate separates our ventral oral chamber from the dorsal nasal chamber, and this palate facilitates chewing even while we are breathing. So both chewing process and breathing process do not interrupt with one another. So without much difficulty, we can chew and we can even continue our breathing. So that is absolutely because of this palate. So this is exclusively present in mammals. So this is an added advantage for the mammals over the other vertebrates. Okay. Now, this buccal cavity is also called as oral cavity. Now, let us see some more information regarding the buccal cavity. So, the palate is actually formed by some anterior palatine bones. So, it is distinguished into anterior hard palate and posterior soft palate. So, the palate which is present on the roof of the buccal cavity is further distinguished into anterior hard palate and posterior soft palate. Students, you just see the hard palate. The hard palate refers the palate is hard in nature, and that hardness is due to the presence of bony material, isn't it? So the hard palate is formed by the two horizontal portions of palatine bones and also the palatine portions of the upper jaw. Hence, due to the presence of bony part, so this is hard in nature, hence called hard palate. Now, this hard palate is covered by a colored mucous membrane. So now this mucous membrane, which covers the hard palate, which is closer to the teeth, is called palatine rugae. So this palatine rugae, we can sense that. So students, if you bend your tongue or if you try to touch your roof of the buccal cavity with the help of the tongue, you can sense that the foldings or the uneven surface of the buccal cavity. Okay, so that uneven surface of that anterior portion of the roof of the buccal cavity, so is called as palatine rugae. And the posterior part of this hard palate is formed into soft palate. So this soft palate, the name itself implies that it is very soft in nature because it is devoid of bony material. It simply consists of soft connective tissue. Hence, this is called soft palate. Now, this soft palate actually hangs down into the throat, deep throat, or this is also called as pharynx. And that hanging structure into the pharynx is called as uvula. So that hanging structure is called as uvula. You can able to see this very clear in the next picture. So these are the structures generally we see in the buccal cavity. So in the buccal cavity, we used to see the jaw bones, jaws, into which the teeth are embedded, and of course, tongue. So these are the structures which are seen in the buccal cavity, teeth and tongue. So this is the tongue on the upper surface. Tongue consists of many structures. We used to discuss that also. And coming to the teeth first. So the human teeth are ectomesodermal in origin. So this ectomesodermal origin in the sense that some part of the tooth is developed from ectoderm and the some part of tooth is developed from mesoderm. So students, you might remember that in your first year syllabus, we got three primary germinal layers, isn't it? Like the outermost layer is called as ectoderm, the middle layer is called as mesoderm, and the innermost layer is called as endoderm. So from these three primary germinal layers, all the tissues, organs are developed. In fact, in the human beings also the same happens. So our teeth are developed from the ecto and mesoderm. Hence, their origin is described as ectomesodermal in origin. And coming to the types of dentition. So the types of dentition, what is meant by dentition? Dentition is described as the arrangement of kinds of teeth, okay, and how these teeth are developed, okay. So this is often described as dentition. So when it comes to human beings, the types of dentition is described as thecodont, dipiodont, and heterodont. So these are the three types of dentitions we used to show. So what is meant by thecodont dentition? So thecodont means the teeth are embedded in the sockets of jaw bones. So we have jaw bones, both upper jaw bone and lower jaw bone. So here these jaw bones used to have pits or sockets. So these light colored portions are called as sockets of the jaw bone. So these sockets are also called as alveolus, singular, alveoli, plural. So here the teeth are fixed in these sockets. They are fixed firmly in these sockets. So as the teeth are embedded in these sockets, hence it is referred as thecodont. Whereas in fishes or amphibians, if you see the type of dentition, so it is referred as acrodont. So acrodont means simply the teeth are arranged or the teeth are attached to the jawbone. Whereas here they are fixed inside these sockets of the jawbone. So that is thecodont dentition. Coming to diffeodont. So diffeodont type of dentition means generally in mammals, including man, we used to develop teeth twice in our lifetime. So majority of the mammals, including man, we form two sets of teeth during the lifetime. So the first set is called as temporary set, or this is also called as milk teeth, or this is also called as deciduous teeth. Generally, in babies around at the age of 6 to 12 months, the first set or the primary teeth used to appear, and which is replaced by another set of teeth. Okay, and that another set of teeth which is later in the lateral stages it is formed. So that is called permanent teeth or adult teeth. So this is how human beings develop teeth twice in our lifetime. As age progresses. Coming to the heterodont teeth. So hetero means different. In human beings, including man especially, we used to have 4 different types of teeth on our both the jaws. So 4 different types of teeth are seen in human beings. Hence, this is referred as heterodont type of dentition. So what are those 4 different types of teeth? They are namely incisors, canines, premolars, and molars. So here see 4 types of teeth. So as we have 4 types of teeth, so the dentition is called heterodont teeth. Whereas in fishes and amphibians, all teeth are very much similar in their structure and shape. Hence, that is referred as homodont. Whereas here they used to differ in their structure and they used to differ in their function. Hence, this is called heterodont. So incisors, canines, premolars, molars. So incisors are usually represented by I, canines are represented by C, premolars are represented by PM, molars are represented by M. So if you see the dental formula in adult man, so what is the dental formula? So the dental formula represents the kinds of teeth as well as the number of teeth that are present in each half of the upper jaw and in each half of the lower jaw. Okay, so that gives a dental formula of adult man. If you see in adult man, so 2 by 2, 1 by 1, 2 by 2, 3 by 3. So here, first 2 by 2. So here they are incisors. So in the upper jaw, in the half of the upper jaw, we got 2 incisors, and similarly in each half of the lower jaw, we got 2 incisors. Again, in the upper jaw, the numerator indicates the upper jaw, whereas the denominator indicates the teeth that are present in each half of the lower jaw. So canines in the upper jaw, each half of the upper jaw, we got 1 canine, whereas in the lower jaw, we got 1 canine. And premolars in the each half of upper jaw, we got 2 premolars. Similarly, in each half of the lower jaw, 2 premolars. And in the each half of upper jaw, 3 molars are present, and in each half of the lower jaw, 3 molars are present. So in an adult man, where we used to see 32 number of teeth, so this is how the dental formula is represented by. So 2 by 2, 1 by 1, 2 by 2, and 3 by 3. So we can say that it is like a mirror image. Essentially, the teeth are arranged like a mirror image. So whatever the teeth that are present in each half of the jaw, exactly the same number of teeth are present in the same manner in the other half of the upper jaw or lower jaw. And if you see in a baby, the milk dentition, so the dental formula of a baby, so it is 2 by 2. So these are incisors, 1 by 1. This is canines, 0 by 0. These are premolars, 2 by 2. These are molars. So in a baby, if you see the milk dentition, the dental formula, so here 0 by 0, no premolars. So no premolars. So this is the dental formula of a baby, that is milk dentition, and this is the dental formula of adult man. 2 by 2, 1 by 1, 2 by 2, 3 by 3. So see, students, in this picture, this is very colorful. So these three teeth are molars, whereas this orange colored teeth are called premolars, whereas again this blue colored, sky blue colored teeth is canine, whereas this yellowish colored teeth which are present in front of the mouth, so these are incisors. So like this is one half and this is another half of one jaw. So this is like a lower jaw. So this is one half of the lower jaw and this is another half of the lower jaw. So exactly they are like mirror images. So whatever the teeth and their number present on this half are similar to the other half. So this is how the teeth are arranged in the sockets of the jaw bone. So they used to differ in their structure, shape, and as well as function. So let us go in detail about the structure of tooth. So if you see the longitudinal section of the tooth, this is the picture showing the longitudinal section of tooth. So mainly it shows three parts. So the first part is crown. So crown is usually the visible part of the tooth. And this is the functional region of the tooth also. So the visible part and as well as the functional portion of the tooth is crown. And the unseen portion of the tooth is root, and between crown and root, so we used to see a small neck which is covered by gums or gingiva. So this part is visible. Now this visible part is called as crown, and this unseen portion which is embedded in the sockets of the jawbone, so this is the root, the tooth, and this small portion between crown and root is a neck region. So the tooth shows three parts: crown, neck, and root. And coming to the material with which the tooth is formed, so the tooth is formed with a bone-like hard material. So this colored portion, so this is a bone-like hard material with which bulk of the tooth is made. So this hard material is called dentine, with which our teeth are actually made of. So this is very hard in nature, as hard as bone. Okay, so this is dentine. So this dentine develops from some specialized cells called odontoblast cells. So this dentine, the material, bone-like hard material, secreted by the odontoblast cells, and these odontoblast cells are mesodermal in origin. So the dentine is secreted by the odontoblast cells of mesodermal origin. So this is the dentine. So inside the dentine, we used to see a small cavity called a pulp cavity. So here see, so this is empty space present inside the dentine. So this small space is called as pulp cavity. Usually this pulp cavity contains soft material called as pulp. Now this pulp usually includes, pulp cavity contains pulp. So this pulp consists of odontoblast cells, nerves, and blood vessels. So here you can see these are the blood vessels, both arteries and veins. So there is the blood supply to this tooth, and these are the nerves. And here between we also see odontoblast cells. So all these together form pulp present in the pulp cavity. And the root of the tooth is well fixed in the socket of the jaw with the help of a special connecting substance called as cementum. So there is a connecting substance called as cementum along with a layer of periodontal membrane. So the root of tooth is firmly fixed in the socket of the jawbone. And here the neck portion of the tooth is covered by a fleshy gums. So gums, or they are also called as gingiva. And coming to the visible portion of the tooth, that is crown. So this is usually covered by a white shiny substance, isn't it? So when you see our tooth appears to be like white shine, isn't it, students? So this white shiny substance is nothing but enamel. So enamel is supposed to be the hardest substance of the human body. Do remember this point, students. So this may be asked in the examination also, very important. So enamel is the hardest substance in the human body. So this enamel covers the dentine portion of each tooth. Now, this enamel is secreted from by ameloblast cells, and these ameloblast cells are ectodermal in origin. Hence, the teeth in human beings is of ecto and mesodermal origin, because dentine is secreted by odontoblast cells. Their origin is mesodermal, middle layer of those three primary germinal layers, whereas the enamel which actually covers the dentine is secreted by the ameloblast cells, which are developed from ectodermal origin. These 2 points are very important. Students, do remember this. So as far as examination point of view, so generally the neat diagram is asked, no theory. Okay, we move on to next. So the other structure we see in the buccal cavity is tongue. So see in this picture, so this is the tongue. So let us define what is tongue. So tongue is a freely movable muscular sense organ attached to the floor of the buccal cavity by a frenulum. So frenulum is a small fold of tissue with which the tongue is attached to the floor of the buccal cavity. So this is a freely movable. So on one side that is attached to the floor of the buccal cavity, whereas the other side of the tongue is free. It is freely movable, and it consists of muscles. So it is muscular, and it is often sense organ. It is greatly studied under as a sense organ, because on the surface of the tongue we used to have 3 types of papillae, and with thousands of taste buds responsible for different tastes. So as a sense organ, this is greatly studied. But here in the human digestive system, so this performs multiple functions. This performs multiple functions such as thorough mastication of the food. So the food is thoroughly masticated and thoroughly mixed with the saliva, and tongue also helps in speech, speaking, and tongue also helps in the deglutition, swallowing the food. Okay, so generally these are the functions of the tongue. So tongue is supposed to be a versatile organ performing many functions such as identification of taste, in swallowing, in speaking, and of course teeth also helps in cleaning our teeth. Generally whatever the food we eat, if it gets stuck in the teeth, in between the teeth, so we used to clean our teeth with the help of tongue. So hence the teeth is commonly called as universal toothbrush. Now coming to the surface of the tongue, usually the tongue is covered by a moist, a pink mucosa membrane. So if you see the tongue on its surface, so this is covered by thick, moist, pink colored mucous membrane. And if you closely observe the surface of the tongue, so there are a lot of raised or bump-like structures which actually give the rough appearance to the tongue. And that rough texture or the rough appearance of the tongue is due to the presence of raised structures or bumps that are present on the surface of the tongue. Now, these bump-like structures are called as papillae. In human beings, on the surface of the tongue, we used to have 3 different types of papillae. The first of its kind, a fungiform papillae, second filiform papillae, and the third one is circumvallate papillae. Usually the fungiform papillae are seen at the tip of the tongue, whereas the filiform papillae are seen on the open surface of the tongue, and these circumvallate are present at the base of the tongue or at the back side of the tongue. So here circumvallate, usually the circumvallate papillae are the larger compared to the other papillae. Here you used to see the fungiform papillae, and here the filiform papillae. And these papillae mostly contains thousands of taste buds, and these taste buds are responsible in identifying the different tastes of the food, like sweet, salt, sour, and bitter. So this is regarding tongue. Now just we move on to pharynx. So the buccal cavity opens into another short tube called pharynx. So pharynx is defined as a short tube of skeletal muscles. Okay, and here these skeletal muscles assist in the process of deglutition or swallowing the food. Now internally this pharynx is lined with a mucous membrane. So students, are you able to see this picture? So here, see, this colored portion is called pharynx. Now this pharynx is divided into 3 divisions. So like this uppermost part, or this is also called as the superior part of the pharynx. So this is generally present over the soft palate. So we have soft palate, isn't it? The extension of the hard palate which hangs down into the pharynx. So this is uvula, and above this uvula, the soft palate, so this particular region is called nasopharynx, into which the nasal cavities open. So our nasal chambers, nostrils, open into nasal cavities, and these nostrils open into this narrow nasopharynx by a pair of internal nostrils. So this is the superior most part or the uppermost part of the pharynx called nasopharynx. And this is the middle part of the pharynx into which our oral chamber opens. So the region of the pharynx into which our oral chamber opens. So this middle part of the pharynx is called oropharynx. So this middle part of the pharynx is called as oropharynx. Okay, and the lowermost part of the pharynx is called laryngopharynx. So this is the lowermost part of the pharynx. Usually this laryngopharynx opens into larynx by an aperture called as glottis. So pharynx is like a common passage for both food and air. Actually, the food from the oral chamber comes to the pharynx, and the air from the nasal chambers also comes to the pharynx. So like this is a common passage for both air and food. So here the food is entered into food pipe and the air enters into windpipe, and this is actually regulated by a special cartilaginous flap-like structure called epiglottis. Okay, now these are the 3 regions. Once again, I'm repeating, students. This is nasopharynx. This is the uppermost or the superiormost part of the pharynx, which lies above this soft palate. So this is the soft palate. So above this soft palate, so this is called nasopharynx. Here, see, these nasal chambers open into this, and just below the soft palate, so this is oropharynx. This is the middle part of the pharynx. So here, see, from mouth, buccal cavity, and this oral cavity opens into this part of pharynx. And here, this is the lowermost part of the pharynx. This is called laryngopharynx, which opens into the larynx further into the trachea. So here there is an aperture called as glottis. Okay, glottis. So as our pharynx contains 2 apertures, so one is glottis, okay, and this glottis leads to trachea, first larynx, and thereafter it leads into trachea. Now this flap is present upon the glottis. So this is commonly called as epiglottis. So it is a leaf-shaped cartilaginous flap which usually covers the glottis. So see here a leaf-shaped cartilaginous flap. So this is epiglottis. So this actually closes the larynx during the swallowing of food. So whenever we swallow the food, so the food do not enter into this, as this epiglottis covers this glottis. So during normal time, this gets opened such that the air freely enters into this larynx. So this is regarding pharynx. The structures seen in pharynx are glottis, which is covered by epiglottis. Next, what are the other structures we generally see in the pharynx? So these are the tonsils. Tonsils are also seen in the pharynx, and these tonsils are present in the pharynx, and they are called like pharyngeal tonsils, and a pair of palatine tonsils, and a pair of lingual tonsils. And even into these pharynx, eustachian tubes open into the nasopharynx from the middle ear, such that these eustachian tubes maintain the equilibrium of air. So they maintain the balance of air on the either side in the middle ear. Okay, so the other structures that are associated with the pharynx are tonsils, like pharyngeal tonsils, palatine tonsils, lingual tonsils, and also see eustachian tubes. These open into the nasopharynx from the middle ear. Sorry to interrupt the slides.
Sorry, refresh it. FIV. మళ్ళీ బ్యాక్ టు అటెండాలంటే కాల్ దాంట్లో స్టాప్ స్క్రీన్.
Hello, Manoj sir.
Madam.
I have shared the screen.
Okay, madam.
Start. We are live.
Yeah, well, students, we are discussing about this pharynx. So this pharynx used to have some other structures. So these are tonsils, these are the lymphoid organs. So these are present in the pharynx, pharyngeal tonsils, and a pair of palatine tonsils, and a pair of lingual tonsils. And the eustachian tubes also open into the nasopharynx from the middle ear. So these eustachian tubes are mainly concerned with balancing the air pressure inside the middle ear. So these are the structures we used to see in the pharynx. So students, if you see the picture very closely, so this is the picture which clearly shows the hard palate of the buccal cavity. So this is very closer to the teeth, isn't it? So it is very closer in front of the roof of the buccal cavity. So this is hard palate. As I already said, this is made up of some bony material, and at the back of the buccal cavity, very backside of the buccal cavity. So this is soft palate, and this conic projection. So this is the conic projection hanging structure, or this is the extension of the soft palate in the throat or the pharynx. So this is called as uvula. What is this called? Uvula. And see here, two bulged portions in the deep throat or pharynx. So these bulged portions are tonsils. They are a part of lymphatic system. So at the floor, we used to see the tongue. So this is the tongue. So this is the clear picture of the pharynx with buccal cavity, along with buccal cavity. May I move on to the next slide, please, ma'am? So far in this today's session, what are all the points we have covered so far? So let us recap the main points. Okay. So first of all, we have regarding this. Let us summarize the whole session briefly. So in our today's session, so we started with the definition of the terms anatomy, physiology. Of course, we know the definition of digestion. So digestive system, what is digestive system of man, and what is alimentary canal. So students, now you can able to define what is digestion, what is digestive system, and what is alimentary canal, isn't it? So in simple terms, digestion is the conversion of complex into simple by the action of enzymes. Coming to the digestive system, so it is the system which consists of many organs and associated structures. Okay, and alimentary canal is a long tubular passage which extends between mouth and anus. So we have seen the flowchart of alimentary canal. So in one of the slides, I have shown you the flowchart of alimentary canal, a series of organs from mouth, starting from mouth, ending with anus, isn't it? So we have discussed what is mouth. This is just the first part of the alimentary canal. Okay, buccal cavity. So the mouth leads to buccal cavity, a small chamber. Okay, and here we have seen hard palate, soft palate, and teeth, tongue are the structures seen in buccal cavity. So the soft palate hangs down to the deep throat as a conic projection made of connective tissue, soft connective tissue, that is called as uvula. Coming to the teeth, so we have seen the types of dentition. So what is dentition? And types of dentition like pecodont, heterodont, diffeodont. So what is heterodont? What is diffeodont? What is pecodont? So you can able to define, isn't it? And of course, kinds of teeth. So in human beings, we have seen there are 4 kinds of teeth. Okay, that are arranged in the both the jaws. So like we have four kinds of teeth like incisors, canines, premolars, and molars. They used to differ in their structure and also their function. Okay, coming to incisors function, they are mainly used for cutting and biting. Canines are used for tearing or holding. Premolars and molars are used for grinding or chewing the food. And we have seen the dental formula of man as well as a baby, milk dentition. So 2 by 2, 1 by 1, 2 by 2, 3 by 3. Whereas milk dentition is 2 by 2, 1 by 1, 0 by 0, 2 by 2. So there is a difference in the dental formula of adult man and as well as a milk dentition. And LS of tooth diagram. So we have gone through the longitudinal section of tooth diagram, which shows 3 parts like crown, neck, root, the structures we have seen. And dentine, the bone like hard material with which the bulk of the tooth is made up of. This is covered by a white shiny substance called enamel. Of course, we have seen their origin. So dentine is developed by odontoblast cells from mesodermal origin, whereas enamel is developed from ameloblast cells of ectodermal origin. Of course, we have seen tongue. What is tongue? What are the functions of the tongue? And what types of papillae are present on the surface of the tongue? So there are 3 types of papillae seen on the surface of the tongue. They are like fungiform, filiform, and circumvallate. And these possess thousands of taste buds which help in the identification of taste of different food. And in this part 1 session, the last part of the elementary canal in this session is pharynx. So like a common passage for both air and food, it receives food from the oral chamber. It also receives air from the nasal chamber. Okay, and here there is a flap-like structure called epiglottis, and this epiglottis used to regulate the entry of air into the larynx and trachea and the entry of food into the food pipe, that is esophagus. So this is the glottis, is the aperture, and this glottis leads into larynx, further into trachea. Now this glottis is covered by a flap-like structure called epiglottis. I told you epi means upon, as it is present upon the glottis, hence it is called as epiglottis. So I hope students you understood these concepts. Okay, so this is the assessment I have given for you to do at home. So the 2 marks questions from the so far covered topic. So the first one is give the dental formula of adult man. I think you can able to easily write the dental formula of an adult man. Okay. And second question is explain the terms thecodont and diffeodont dentitions. So thecodont is very simple, arranged in the sockets of the jawbone or embedded in the sockets of the jawbone. Diffeodont, so twice in our lifetime we used to develop teeth, diffeodont, isn't it? The first set is called as milk set, the second set is adult set of adult teeth. So it is very easy to define these terms. The third question is name the different types of papillae present on the tongue of man. So just now we have seen there are 3 types of papillae, isn't it? Like fungiform and filiform, circumvallate. Okay, if you simply name these 3 types, so that is enough. Okay, the fourth question is what is the hardest substance in the human body and what is its origin? So the hardest substance in the human body is, yes, exactly, that is enamel. So enamel is the hardest substance in the human body and its origin is, so this enamel is developed by or developed from the ameloblast cells of ectodermal origin. And coming to the 4th marks question in this topic, so draw a neat labeled diagram of LS of 2. So here generally only neat labeled diagram is asked in the examination. So students, you need not explain the whole thing about the tooth structure. You simply draw a neat labeled diagram, show the parts such as crown, neck, and root, okay, along with the other structures that we have seen in the diagram. So you need to practice it many times, okay, and you need to remember the parts also. Students, The students hope you understood these concepts and try to practice those questions. And stay home, stay safe.
Thank you, Manoj sir.
Madam,
It
good
was
afternoon.
really a wonderful explanation on the
Thank you, madam.
topic digestion and absorption. You made the session very interesting with your colorful. Thank you, Manoj sir. That was really a wonderful explanation on the topic digestion and absorption. You made this session very interesting with your colorful slides. Children, I hope all of you have understood today's session. If you take the abbreviation of the word today, that is TODAY, it says, today is an opportunity to do a work better than yesterday. So we must have a check on how much or how better we are learning day by day comparing with yesterday's. Kindly note and practice whatever the assignments are given by the lecturers. I hope today's both the sessions have brought a smile on your face and fill your heart with happiness, which make you to enrich yourself with utmost knowledge. Please continue to have the same smile on your face and a happy heart for the rest of the day. We shall meet you tomorrow with another interesting subject and the topics. And as we don't have any queries or the questions on the chat box, we'll end up the session. And thank you, one and all, for the day. Please do be connected with our webinar sessions and enjoy our live sessions. Stay home, stay safe, take care of yourself. Have a very wonderful day and keep smiling always. Bye bye.